Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I'm hoping to record a video today because I didn't have too much to drink last night, even though I had my first evening out in London since the pandemic started. So we had a celebration all around something called Pablo's Armchair Treasure Hunt, which is an online treasure hunt that happens once a year at around Christmas time, and lots of teams from all over the world enter it. It's a bit like a smaller version of the MIT Mystery Hunt. And it was just great to get together with actual people last night, something that I feel I haven't done enough of in recent months for probably obvious reasons. But yeah, a quick shout out to my teammates, to Neil, to John, to Mark. Well, you probably already know who Mark is, and to Rachel and Lily as well. It was very nice to see all of you. Now, you can see on the screen we've got a puzzle today. Now, this is by 3 incredibly clever people. It is rather daunting to think that the combined IQ of the setters of this puzzle is probably around 600. We've got Qodex, we've got Ben, and we've got TrevorTao. So it is an absolutely stellar arrangement of talent. Now, this is what the puzzle it's called Skyline, and that's because, of course, if you highlight it like this, you can make it look like a sort of moon hanging over some skyscrapers, which is rather pretty. But the version I've been sent is rather less chromatically delightful. It's plain, presumably because people were worried that I might need to colour this or something, and then the colours would get polluted by this version. Anyway, so this is what we've got to do. I think it's an ordinary killer Sudoku. But before we start, I would like to say a very happy birthday to somebody today. So Jonathan, I hope that you're watching. And Jonathan, you're 8 years old today, if I'm not mistaken, and your babysitter, Kimberly Preston, dropped me a line and said that you watch the channel with her and you really do enjoy it. And these are the things that really make my day, that there are such young people enjoying the logic that we get to show on this channel. That gladdens my heart. So Jonathan, I hope you had a really super day and lots of cake. Now, let's get to the rules of Skyline. Here they are. Normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage, and digits cannot repeat within a cage. So we have normal rules. I'm just taking a quick stare at this. So that means those 4 digits there have to sum to 22, and what you can't do is something like that. And then that's a very silly choice of number there. Let's go for 4 and 8. So this wouldn't work, not because these 5s break the rules of Sudoku, but because they break the rules of killer Sudoku. You can't repeat 5s in a cage. So don't do that, or you'll get the puzzle wrong. Do have a go at this, though. The way to play is to click the link under the video, as usual. And now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And I believe this is an older puzzle. I think it's been around for a while. But it was recommended only recently on the Discord server to us, so I'm sure it is very good. Let's talk about the secret, I guess. Although maybe it's not going to be that helpful, but the secret is something I only tell my favourite people. But because you're watching the video, that of course includes you. And the secret is that any box of a Sudoku, indeed any row or any column, must contain the digits 1 to 9 once each. And if you add up the digits 1 to 9, you get 45. So in this box down here, you can see we've got 2 cages there that sum to 15. 15 and 19 is 34. So this domino adds up to 11 in order to ensure the whole box adds up to 45. But unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to be helpful. There are 4 different ways of making 11 in a domino, so probably not. That's these 3 digits have to add to 15, look. Because we've got 30 in those 6 cells, so they need to be 15. Now, what about the moon shape at the top? We've got... Well, it feels to me like those 2 digits have to be a bit high, but that might be wrong. If we max those out, if we made those 8 and 9... Yeah, okay, these do have to be high. And the way I'm sort of seeing that is 15 in 4 cells just feels a bit low on average to me. Obviously, if this was 15 in 3 cells, then the average digit in the cage would be a 5. and 5 is the average Sudoku digit, but 15 in 4 feels on the light side, and this is 15 in 4 again as well, so it feels on the light side of its cage. So maybe the way to see this, what's the triangular number for 7, i.e. what would we get if we added 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 together? We would get 28. So the absolute minimum value for those 7 cells is 28. But we can't make them very much more than that without making this have to be a 0. So if these were 28, this would have to be a 2, because obviously these 8 cells add up to 30. So we can go 28 or 29 in these 7, and that must be a 1 or a 2. And the corollary of all that is that if this is a 2, these add up to 28, so these have to add up to 17, which makes them an 8-9 pair. And if this is a 1, these have to add up to 29, which makes these a 7-9 pair. So there's always a 9 in this or one of these 2 cells. And and this digit must go in one of those 2 cells. So there's a 1 or a 2 in this 15 cage, and possibly a 1 or a 2 in this 15 cage as well, depending on what this digit is. Now, can we do better than that somehow? I can't see what this cage adds up to because of the corner pencil mark. That adds up to 22. In fact, I'm going to take that out because I can't actually read it. So this is 22. I'm just going to remember there's a 9 in one of those. I should be able to remember that. No, okay. So what else can we do here? We've got a lot of high digits down here as well. Yeah, so again, my sense here is that these have to be very high. And I hope that's going to be proved right. And that's because if these were very high, and you can see a 26 cage, well, the average value of a 26 cage in 4 cells is a lot. It's over 6. So it's on the high side. So if I make this domino high, 13 and 13 are obviously high in dominoes as well, and it just feels like we're going to run out of room in this cage. So that's just me not doing any actual maths, but just feeling the maths, if you like. But we can probably do this a bit more precisely. Oh no. We don't need to. We don't need to be precise. We just need to use Sudoku. There is a 1 or a 2 in this cell. Where does it go in box 9? Good grief, Simon. Well, the answer is not there by Sudoku, and you can't put a 1 or a 2 in a dominoed 13 cage, or the other digit will have to be 11 or 12. And so it's going to have to be in here, but you can't put a 1 in here, because then the other 3 digits will have to add up to 25 and will have to be more than 7 plus 8 plus 9, which is impossible given we can't repeat a digit in a cage. So that is in fact a 2, which means those are an 8-9 pair. There must be a 2 in the 26 cage, along with 7, 8, and 9 to make it 26. And we know the 2 is in this domino here. So there's a 2 in this domino. And now what? So actually, what I should have done is to think about all the low digits in here. So where does 1 go? 1 must be in there because it can't be in those cells. 3 must be in these 3 cells because, again, you can't put 3 in a 13 cage without the other digit being a 10. So this is 1 plus 3, and then something else depending on... Oh, I see, depending on what we put with the 2. So if it's 2 plus 7 is 9, that 9 plus 2 lots of 13 is 35. So these would add up to 10, and this would be 1, 3, 6. And if we go to, and then, yeah, okay, and then as we increase this value, we're going to decrease that 6 downwards. So this must be either 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 5, or 1, 3, 6. And that is very interesting, but perhaps not enough. So these have to be high now. and they're looking at the 26 cage over here. But that doesn't actually help us at all, does it? I know a 26 cage has got to have some high digits in it. No, I don't think it really matters, actually. There's not much pressure on this, because whatever's in this domino can just go there. I don't know. Oh, can I get this? No, I can't. Can I? Okay, that digit. That digit's interesting. In fact, I'm going to colour it in. It's so interesting. Where does this digit go in box 9? Remember, it can't repeat in its own cage, and it doesn't seem to be able to be in these 3 cells, so it must go there. So that cell's a 7, 8, or a 9, which means this square's a 4, 5, or a 6. And that means one of those squares is orange, but I don't know which one. Now, if it was this one, these 2 digits would have to be low. Oh, I tell you, it would be quite useful if we could work out that this was 8 or 9, then we'd either get an 8-9 pair in row 1 or an 8-9 pair in row 3. So why does this have to be an 8 or a 9? I don't know, but that one's interesting as well, isn't it? Because whatever this one is, let's make that one blue, it's got to be in one of those 3 cells. But actually, we can do better than that. Yes, we can. We can do better than that. Could this cell ever be blue? No, because that would imply that, because this is in a cage, that would imply blue plus orange equals 13, which we know it can't do given there's a 2 in there. Because if these add up to 13, these must add up to 13 as well to make the 26 cage work, but one of the digits being a 2 and the other digit not being an 11 renders that impossible. So this is not blue. So blue is in this cage and orange is in this cage, and blue joins its friend orange at the top of the grid. So this is now an orange-blue pair, which has 7s, 8s and 9s only. So we don't know whether or not this is, or one of these is an 8 or a 9. One of them must be. Only one of these can be a 7. So these have to be low digits now. Oh, actually not that low. If that's a 7, if we'd minimise these, they would add up to 15. So the maximum digit we can put in this domino is a 6. We could have a 6 and a 1. Okay, I'm going to look at that in a moment. I think this row might be interesting. But let me just have a think about this box first. So this digit, no, that digit's got totally free reign. This digit, no, okay, sorry, I think, I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether I can do anything with box 2. I've got a horrible feeling I'm meant to understand something about box 2, but I'm not seeing it very quickly. But what I have noticed is that these 2 digits here can't now go in those 5 digits here. And the reason I paused is that it feels difficult for me to believe that you can put orange and blue in those 3 squares. Because if you do that, how on earth are we going to make a 26 cage work? So if 2 high digits are not available in a 26 cage, let's imagine we put 9 in there but not 8 and 7, because that's the best we could do. Then the other 3 digits would, no, it doesn't work. The other 3 digits could only be 6, 5 and 4. That only adds up to 15, and 15 and 9 is 24. It's not 26. So there must be 2 high digits in the 26 cage at least. There could be 3 high digits. But there can't be 3 high digits here, because yeah, this is definitely restricted. So if we have a think about where blue and orange go in this row, we've already proved blue and orange cannot be in box 4. because that makes this impossible. So the only place blue and orange can go, well, one of the places is here. That must be blue or orange, given that blue and orange can't go in those 5 cells, because we know that the highest digit we can put in this domino is a 6. So there must be one high digit in box 4, which means there must be only 2 high digits in the 26 cage, and that's the minimum it needs. So there are 2 high digits in here. I suppose, yeah, okay, the 26 cage in 4 cells doesn't need to have a 9 in it. It could be 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5. But if it does have a 9 in it, then it could be 9 plus 8 plus it can't be 9 plus 8 plus 7, can it? Because you can't put 3 high digits in it. So it's 9 plus 8 plus 6 plus 3, or 9 plus 8 plus 5 plus 4, or 9 plus 7 plus 4 plus 6. Okay, so there are loads of options for that. That digit, though, now has to be a 7, 8, or a 9. Which, there's so much that's near. Aha! Got it. Maybe it's this. 19. 19 must have high digits in it, and it must have one high digit in it at least. And we can say that because if it didn't have 9, 8, or 7 in it, then it would be 4 plus 5 plus 6 maximum, which again is only 15. So it's got to have exactly one high digit in it because it can't have these 2 in it, whatever they are. So there is one high digit in the 19 cage, and it can't only be a 7 because 7 plus 6 plus 5 is only 18. So the 7 in this column is now placed, I think it has to go here. That's ridiculously clever. Good grief. So in this lower skyscraper down here, because we need a high digit, and because we can only put one high digit in, and 7 is not a high enough digit, there's sort of a virtual 7, 8, 9 triple in this column between these 5 cells. But the 7 can't go here, so it must go there. Which means there's an 8 or a 9 in the 19 cage. So if it's 9, it would have to be 4, 6, 9. Because obviously 7 and 8 would not be available. If there's an 8 down here, we need 2 digits that add up to 11, which can't include 9, 8, or 7. So that was going to be 5, 6, 8. Oh, okay. That's not very helpful. Bother. But I've got a digit here, and that feels like a... Oh, right, yeah, well that is a blue or an orange digit. So there is a blue or an orange 7 here, which means there's no 7 down there, which means that one of these cages is a 7, 6 cage. This is really cute. This is really cute because either the blue cage or this cage is a 7, 6 cage now. 6 can't go over there. So 6 is in one of these 3 cells. One of these is a 7 now. Does that mean anything? It probably does, but I can't quite figure out what. Unfortunately, 7 and the fact I know one of those is a 7 doesn't restrict this 9 cage anymore. So, how do I do this? How do we do this? We should look at... I don't really know how to pencil mark this. I know there's an 8 or a 9 in one of these 3 cells, and it corresponds to whichever one of these is not 7. And then the digit that's down here, so there's a high digit down there, which is, let's make it red, shall we? Is that... No, I don't like the red and the orange together. I'll make it yellow. No, I don't like the yellow and the orange together. I'll make it purple. Yeah, okay. We'll make it purple. So there is a purple digit down there. Don't know which one it is. But that purple digit must live in here, because we know the 26 cage needs a high digit in it. No, it needs two. No, it needs two high digits in it. And the 7, 7. So there must be a 7 there. Because it's an 8 or a 9 that's missing from the 26 cage. So the 26 cage does have a 7 in it. Oh, so what did I say it could be? 8765. 8765 was one of them. Other than that, no, it can't be 98 now, can it? That's the point. It cannot be 98. Once this is a 7, and we know there's an 8 or a 9 in the top of this, this is very weird. It can't have an 8 or a 9 in it, so it's either 8765 or it's 9764, so it's got a 6 in it. Good grief. That's very nearly beautiful. It nearly gives me a 6 here. I was just thinking about whether I could put a 6 in there, but I can, can't I? If I couldn't, then I'd have had a 6 in one of those 6 cells, and I'd have known the 6 was placeable in box 6 there, or in column 7, I suppose, is a more precise way of thinking about that. So, what do we do next? That's the question. Oh, I see. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, this is very interesting indeed, because now the question to ask is not about 6s, it's about purples. We should have ignored digits and think about colours. Yes, well, yes, this is exactly what we should do, because where does purple go in this box? And there are 2 cells in particular you cannot put purple, because if you put purple in there, then in the 22 cage there is a 7, 8, 9 triple, which already add up to 24. You can't put a -2 in a 22 cage, so you cannot put purple in this domino. So purple is in one of 6 cells in box 5. And that ordinarily might not be interesting, but here it is. Because it allows us to ask where purple goes in this row. And purple goes there. And that means this is going to have implications for 6s as well. Because look, purple in this box is in one of those cells. Don't know which one, but this is the whole configuration of, or configuration, better word, the whole configuration of purples. Although we know very little about precisely where purples go in a variety of different boxes, we know enough to say that in box 6, purple must be here. And that's because in row 4, purple is in one of these 3 cells, and it can't be in either of those 2 by Sudoku. So that has become purple, which is it's just an 8 or a 9, because remember, we're talking about the high digit down here that's not a 2. So this is an 8 or a 9, but now we've got a similar question we can ask about 6s. Where does 6 go in row 4? Not here, not here, not there, it's in here. And if it's in here, I think I worked out that I couldn't put a digit higher than 6 in here. Yes, in fact, look, it's easy. There's a 6 in here. There's this digit, which is a very high digit, and that's that digit that's a pretty high digit. So if we minimise 6 plus 8 plus 7, which is the minimum I can make 3 of the cells add up to, that gets to 21, which means we can only have a 1 down here with the 6. So this is 1, 6, this is 8, this is 7, that's not 7, that's 9 now. So this is 8. So that means we now know this domino. This is now a 7-8 pair, which means this is a 2-9 pair, which means this is a 9, obviously, using our logic. Now we know 9 joins 6 and 7 in there, so we must have, I can't see what the total is, 4, 6, 7, 9. So this is not 9 up here. This one must be the same as that one. And this one we don't know. We don't know which of these is blue. This can't be 4 anymore. Oh yes, no, in fact, we can't put 4 in here either. So 4 is definitely over here where it joins its friend, the ones and its friends, the 1s and the 3s. So that's 1, 3, and 4. This is 5, 6 to complete the column. So these squares are now 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there is a legend of a person who lives in South Kensington who will pencil mark every cell in a Sudoku to its nth degree. I don't believe such legends, but I believe it's true. I don't like doing it, but I have done it there. I'm becoming more like pencil mark as time goes on. Now, what now? Oh, now 1 and 8 can't go in there. So this is either 4, 5 or 3, 6. Right, okay, that's interesting. So this domino is either 3, 6 or 4, 5. So that means when we combine it with this cell here, there is a 3, 4 pair in those 3 digits. Because if this is 3, 6, that's 4. If this is 4, 5, that's 3. So there's always a 3, 4 pair in these 3 cells, which means that square's a 1. Which means this square is a 1. Which means one of these 15 cages has to have a 1 in it. So it must either be 1, 5, 9 or 1, 6, 8. Now, whichever one of those it is, so if it was 1, 6, 8, that would form a sort of pair with the 6 there, and 6 in column 3 would go in one of those cells. Oh, look, 8. Maybe it's Sudoku over here. We can do some 8 pencil marks. 9 is not here anymore. 9 is the purple digit, so that's not 9. This digit here has to be, yeah, this is quite interesting. So one way to think about this column is that it has 2 9 cages left in it. Because if this is 3, 6, we've not put 4 and 5 in this column. So this would be 4 and that would be 5. Whereas if this is 4, 5, this would be 3 and that would be 6. So there's sort of a virtual 9 cage in those 2 cells. But, unfortunately... no, hang on, look. The 19 cage doesn't have a 9 in it now. So it must have an 8, a 6 and a 5. That's the only way of getting to 19 when we can't use 7. So this is 5, 6, 8, which doesn't resolve the 5 cage, which is a bit surprising. What does that mean? Now that means that this 10 cage is not... So this 10 cage is made up of odd digits, because it can't be 4, 6 or 2, 8. So it's either 3, 7 or 1, 9. And whichever it is doesn't impact the 5 cage. These two have to add up to 11, and they're not 5, 6 or 3, 8. So these are 2, 9, which is impossible because of the 2, 9 here. So this is not 2, 9. So this is 4, 7, which means that's not 4. This is now not 3, 7, so this is 1, 9, which means these squares are 2, 3. And that does absolutely nothing. Oh, no, it does. It does do something. This 2 is ruling 2 out of there, and these 2s are ruling it out of there. And so we can actually place 2 in box 2, serendipitously enough. So 2 is in this cell. Okay. Does that do anything else? I suppose this column we should study, shouldn't we? Because, oh look, yes, we still need to put 1 in this column. It can't go there, so that's got to be a 1. This must be a 3, 4 pair. This cage now has 2 digits in it that sum up to 12, and they're not 3, 9 or 4, 8. So this is 5, 7, there's a 7 here. So this is 7, this is 5, that's 6. That was part of my virtual 9 cage, that's 3. This is a 4-5 pair. These squares are now 1, 3, and 9. So these aren't 3, which we could have seen another way, but anyway, we've just seen it that way. 1, 6, 2, 4. That's not a 1. That's not a 9. These 3 squares here have got to be 3s, 4s, and 6s, I think. I'm just going to, yeah, that does add up to 15. So that's a small confirmation. Can we do better? 1, 9 here gives me the 1, 6 there. Yes, we can. So that's a 6. This is a 3, 4 pair. That's a 3, 4 pair. So this square must be a 4. That's a 7. Good grief. Now we need, what do we need here? 2 and 5. So that's a 2, 5 pair. And this is an 8, 9 pair, I want to say, with an 8 over here. So that should be 8. That should be 9. 9 is not down there anymore. 7 is not down here anymore. This is 4, 6. This is all coming together very sweetly. So 4 and 3 go in here. This is now a 7, 9 pair, which doesn't seem to resolve anything. 4, 6 does though, so that's got to be 6, that's got to be 5, that's got to be 5, that's got to be 2. And this has got to be 4, this has got to be 2, and that square is a something, a 3, I want to say. Is that a 3? And these squares are now 2, 5, and 8 to complete the box. Right, let's just pause for thought here and have a think about whether we've learnt any more about the state of the universe. We have learnt that 1 in box 1 is maybe not restricted. It would be very nice if I could get it into the 15 cage. It would be nice if I could get it in the 15 cage, because then I would know that you couldn't put a 2 in the 15 cage as well, and that forced this to be a 2. Oh no, that's not going to work anyway. Right, that's not a 2. Because I can't for the life of me believe that you can put 1, 2 and 3 into these cells and make... No, there's no way. You can't put 1, 2 and 3 into two 15 cages and make them add up. Because even if you put 2 and 3 in one of them, because one of them will have to have 2 of the digits. Let's put the highest 2 digits in. The other digit would still have to be a 10. That doesn't work. So that's not a 2. Which means 1 can't go in here. So 1 is now in one of those 2 cells. Which means 1 is not here, which means this square has become a 1. Which probably does something. Although maybe the way to think about this is to think about yeah, I can't put a 1 and a 3 in the same 15 cage. So one of the cages is either 159 or 168. The other one has a 3 in it. Oh, but that could be 57 or 48 along with it. So yes, okay, so 2 in this box is in one of these cells. Maybe that's the way to think about it. So that's not a 2. Oh. No. Okay. I've got to do something else. I don't know what to do. Let's have a look. Can I get this 13 cage? That looks like it's sort of ready for the picking, doesn't it? 4, 7 here. Oh no, 4's over there. 7. So 7 is in one of 2 places in this box, which means 6 is in one of 2 places. No. Oh dear. Okay, so it must be, there must be some Sudoku that I've not done. No, done 2 6s. 6s must be in one of those 3 cells. Ones, 3s, 4s, 9s. That's got to be a 4 or a 9. These are 1s, 3s, 4s, and 9s. Is that worth pencil marking? It might be, I suppose. We're getting a bit stuck here. So there's got to be a 2. There's got to be a 7 over here by Sudoku. What did they have? They had to add up to 15, didn't they? 13. Ah, right. That's right. This is beautiful. Good grief. Okay, where does... Well, what is this combination? One of these digits is a 2, and it's accompanied by a domino, or other 2 cells, that add up to 13. But those 2 digits cannot be a 4 and a 9, and it cannot be a 5 and an 8. So the only other way of making this work is 2, 6, and 7. And that's, I can see that's going to push the 6 and the 7 out of these 2 squares. So that can't be 6, that can't be 7. There's now a 2, 7 pair in my 15 cage at the top. 2 and 7 add up to 9, so that squares a 6, which means that squares a 6 and that squares a 4. And I've already thought of one thing that means. It means that you can't put 6 in any of these cells. Oh, we could have got this before, but the 1 now can't be with a 6, 8. So there's a 1, 5, 9. One of these 15 cages is 1, 5, and 9. And which one is it? I don't actually see anything in the row that's going to tell us which way round it goes. Oh, this is so strange. So this square... Yeah, no. So this square can't be... If we look at this row, we seem to have 3, 4, and 5 to place. So this square can't be 3. So that's got to be 4 or 5, which makes this square have to be 3. Which makes that 4, that 4, that 5, that 5, that 8... So this is 4 or 9 and can't be 4. So that seems to have to be 9. That seems to have to be 4. 9 comes out of these cells. And 4 comes out of this one. So we've now got a 1, 3 pair in this. And this cell should be known. That's got to be a 7. No, not 7. 8. Oh, thank goodness for that. I was thinking, no, this has all gone wrong. No, that's an 8, I think. So how come this isn't resolved? What have we got down here? We've got a 1, 5, 9 cage, which... And what's the other one? Oh, it's got a 3 in it, hasn't it? So the other one has got to have 3, 4, and 8 in it. Oh, that's beautiful. Good grief, there's 4s. Look at this. There's a 4 in one of these cages. That's the way to think about it. And the 4 can't go in that one. So it must go down here where it joins its friend the 3 and the 8. Because we know the other one is 1, 5, 9. And it's this one that's 1, 5, 9. Now we actually have learnt that. And this, oh, look, and there's an 8 here. So now we might be away again. That's 8. That's not 8. This is 7. Aha! So orange was 7 after all this time. So that one we should correct. And therefore, blue was 8. So that one becomes all orange. And this one becomes all 8 and blue. So that must be a 6. Because 7 plus 6 equals 13. So that's a 5. Doesn't seem to do anything. So that must be a 5, 8 pair. I don't believe it. That also doesn't seem to do anything. Oh, 1, 3 here. So that's a 3. That's a 9. And we know the 9 is the purple digit, don't we? So we can do that. 3, 4 pair. 3, 4 pair looking up gives us the 3 and the 1, which removes the 1 from this cell. What else? I must have missed something because this. I'm not sure what else we can do here. 7 comes out of this cell. There's almost a sort of 3, 4 thing going on. I suppose we can ask where 9 goes in bottom row. It has to go there. It's the only place it can live. So that becomes a 1. Now there's a 3, 4 pair in row 8, which means this square's a 2, so that's a 3, that's a 3, that's a 4, and that's a 1, that's a 3, that's a 4. And now this is a 2. Okay, so that's a 7, that's a 6. We can put 6 and 8 into these squares, which gives us 8, gives us 5. That places 5, 9, 1, and now we're done. Good grief, that's very, very pretty. 9 and 2. And I should just correct the purpling, shouldn't I? Let's just make sure our purpling looks consistent and get rid of that and get rid of that. Obviously I could fill in all the 8s in blue, but seeing as I think these were the key ones, so I'll leave it like that. Very, very pretty puzzles. Taken me a long time actually for a normal killer Sudoku, but some of the ideas that these setters are coming up with now are so clever that it takes my little old brain, whatever my IQ is, longer. They're packing 600 IQ on their side of the scales. There's only little old me on my side. It's not very fair. But that was magnificent, wasn't it? That was so... Yeah, it was just very, very clever. The ideas around this little tower block and the way it forced things in there was very pretty. But I think the whole key actually was around these 3 rows and thinking about the interaction between the 2 high digits there and this 26 cage and this evil 22 cage sticking down there. When I say evil, no, it's actually really, it's a beautifully crafted piece of evil, because it locked out high digits from this domino, and that was absolutely, it made the puzzle. This is the cage that made the puzzle. So I wonder which of Qodex, Ben and TrevorTao will admit to this, but very clever stuff indeed. Let us know in the comments how you got on. I do enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.